Welcome to Vegas Live with Ninon. I'm Ninon, your host. And of course, you know me around in Vegas. There's a lot of happening in Vegas these days, and a lot is happening in my life with Vegas Live with Ninon. Now, the gentleman next to me, Rick Boss, you know from probably 7, 8 years ago, and then also from a couple of years ago when he was on my show, where he has a lot of people he knows in town, out of town, and probably around the world. And he is very kindly introduced me. You've all heard of EAZY-E, right?
That's right. The Godfather of Gangsta Rap. We have Eazy-E's son in the studio right now as we're speaking.
There you go. We got Eazy-E3. We're going to call him E3.
That's right.
E3, hey, how are you? You're looking great, by the way.
Fine. How you doing?
It's doing great. It's doing wonderful. And you are one of the children of EAZY-E, right?
That is most definitely correct.
Yeah. And how many, I understand you had quite a few children. Which one in line are you?
Now you want to make it hard on me because I got to use my fingers.
Yeah,
and it's more
counting.
more than I can count on my hands. So I will basically be the third oldest boy out of because I don't see everybody. You know, we got some that stay out of state, some that's local. So
how do you all keep together? You know, how do you?
The main one, I mean, you know, we all close, we all keep in contact, but like the main ones that I keep in contact are the ones that grew up around me. You know what I mean? In the same area. Yeah. Everyone else grew up outside the state, so you know it's kind of hard to.
When you say that they all were around me, were you brought up in Compton?
Yes.
California. You were brought up in Compton, and your father unfortunately died very young. He only died. He was only what, 30 years old?
Yeah, because I made it past the length of life of my longer than my father. Surprising, you know what I mean? I sit there and look at it, and I'm like, damn, I'm older than what my pops was before he died.
No, there you go. But you did know your father, though, didn't you?
Say that again.
You did know your father.
Yes,
you knew your father. You knew him very well. Because I was probably thinking all the children didn't really know him probably as well. But since you're just one of the younger lightning.
If they didn't grow up out here around him, I wouldn't say, I couldn't say that they didn't have a chance to meet him or he didn't have a chance to meet them as they were younger. But as time, you know, he died when he died. So I was 7 years old when my pops passed. So,
okay. All right.
So any of my younger siblings, which was probably a few of them at that time, would probably, you know, be the only ones I could say had the opportunity to be around my father, spend time.
Yeah, because your father was an icon.
Only a selective few.
Your father was kind of he really started the rap, didn't he?
He started gangster rap, and
gangster rap.
He's the first that started gangster rap, and he also brought in a Hispanic group into the picture named Brownside as well. So he was for the people and for the culture.
So I was going to say, he was for the culture, not only for the African American or whatever.
For the Hispanics,
he was for everybody. Yeah, but he also reached the younger generation because this was very much, you know, the rapping and everything else. I remember it all. I was old enough to remember it.
Actually, he came out with his father in the music video. Was it Boys in the Hood? You came out as a little boy, right? The Boys in the Hood video?
Only If You Wanted video.
Only If You Wanted video, excuse me.
Oh, Only If You Wanted video.
As a child, he came out with his father. In the music video.
That's incredible. Then there was a company you had. What was it called? Ruthless. You had it. Was that his company?
His father had Ruthless Records.
Oh yeah,
Ruthless
my father was.
Yeah, your dad. Did you continue with that, or is it still going?
That's not going. Not the official. No, that's no longer. Other than that, we were working on like a little side thing as far as Rich and Ruthless, because we couldn't use, you know, Ruthless Records based off of it being Ruthless Records. But no, that's basically a no longer. But we would have to go through a specific, you know, in order to get that access.
Yeah, and I believe that was left. Didn't he leave the company to his wife at the time? Whatever. Anyway, icecube. What do we have about icecube? I've got down here all sorts of icecube, Dr. Dre. I've got all sorts of stuff down here.
His father's the one that actually got them started their career, Ice Cube and Dr. Dre. His father was the one that.
So your father got them started into the rapping business.
You could say, I mean, some people won't give him that they won't give him that recognition to say so, because some people will feel like, you know what I mean? They
Well,
would feel like they
but
did it on their own. But other than that, my father was
E3, you were there. You were there. You knew what went on. You saw it all, right?
but I was young. I was young, so I was
Yeah,
still a
that's true.
kid at the time. Like, you know, I knew what was going on, but in entirety, I couldn't say I knew what was going on because I was a kid. You know what I mean? They were adults. I just saw what was going on at the time. So
Absolutely. And was all this done in Compton?
say that again.
Was all this recorded and all this put together in Compton?
Some of it until they expanded and started reaching out to other studios outside the city. But yeah, most of it started in the garage of my grandparents' house.
See, isn't that see? That's amazing, and that was obviously in Compton, was it? I'm saying obviously. I
Yeah,
don't
so
know.
you know, so my father played a key role in everybody being put in the position that they're in, not to take away or discredit their talents and accolades, but that was the case from back in the day, because some of them grew up around each other and some of them were just close friends, and then they linked up and formed that wonderful group NWA we got. So
Isn't that amazing, Rick? Huh?
Perfect, good talent, wonderful talent, history.
That is history in the making,
history.
and that's why we want to get it out there. And what are you doing now, E3?
Raising my boys. Other than that, as far as music, I'm still open. I'm doing music. I'm still working on the project I got going. Open and still working with other artists, doing collaborations. Still open to doing shows, going to do tours. So I'm still around. Other than that, I've just been mainly taking care of the little ones. You know, as we adults have to do when we have kids. So
absolutely. Going back into knowing your father and where it is now, because you know your father was never forgotten. He's still around. I mean, everybody. You mentioned his. I was in a hospital the other day, and I happened to mention. I said, "Do you know if you know Eazy-E?" And they said, "Oh yes, Compton." And they gave me the whole history. They have a whole history of him. So, how do you feel about that? That your father, you know, you go around. Do many people know that you're the son? Or I mean, I know you don't have it written on your forehead, but you know.
he just left a stamp for everybody to remember. And if you were young, it's crazy because it's a lot of kids today that you would never imagine even know who Eazy is, but they know based off of family members, word of mouth, et cetera, et cetera. So that's and they keep up with it from that point on. It's kids that literally say Eazy is my favorite rapper, and I would look at them like, you're like 6. How's he your favorite rapper? You know, it's word of mouth, family. So
The Straight Outta Compton movie.
A lot of kids. When I go out of town, a lot of people that I meet, I always get a story as far as, you know, when I was younger, I used to have to sneak and listen to your father because my parents wouldn't let me listen to it. But that was key in my life to have that in my life to listen to. So it's always good to hear good things about whether, you know, how people felt about my father, the group, because I'm affiliated with them. So.
Of course, you are definitely affiliated with your father. So, what are the things that you remember most outstanding that seem to stay in your life, and how your father? I mean, how did he get to where he was? You know, it's hard.
It's a lot, honestly. I mean, even though, like I said, my father died right when I was 7 years old, I still have a good memory as far as certain things I've done. Video shoot, only if you want a video. That was, you know, that was an all-day thing. That was fun. When we were kids, he took us all to Disneyland. Remember, we went to Disneyland. It's crazy you brought up Brownside, because that's when Toker came, and he basically had the camera. They was taking pictures, videos of us running around as kids at Disneyland. You know what I mean? So
Rest
that's probably like the most memorable thing, because I know it was like us all together. Half the time it may be, I mean, we may be together when it comes to certain situations like birthdays here and there, but other than that, that was just a fun experience to have us all at Disneyland all day having a good time. So,
Did you ever help your father with the rapping? The you call them lyrics? Or what do you call them?
I wish I could. I was too I wish I could. I was too young at the time. I was just always watching. Yeah, I was always watching how he moved around. That was the main thing. Like I had my eyes open. I was always watching this movie.
Yeah. because I mean, because he was so young and he had such a talent, and sort of we all want to know, you know, where did this talent come from? How did he get there? What did he do to get there? And it's just amazing. And then the unfortunate thing was that he passed away so young, so we didn't get as much as we wanted of him.
Yeah.
Right, right,
So,
right.
so Rick, what do you remember in your relationship with Eazy?
Real short,
Yeah.
and real short, and had a lot of power, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
The big little man. The big
Yeah, I'm
little
gonna
man.
leave it at that. You know what I mean? He was the man. He was the man out there in Compton. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I can't speak on that, but yes,
But
good
he,
talent. Good talent.
yeah, let's talk about his talent,
Yeah.
not about all the. I know that in those days, you know, even in these days, a lot of stuff goes on, a lot of stuff happens, but that we're not talking about that. I'm talking more about him, about your father. I'm talking about how people loved him and how they appreciated what he did.
He would always live on. After we're dead and
Yes,
gone, his music will still live on. And my kids will still know who Eazy is to after we're gone. You know, it's
yeah,
history in the making. So
yeah. Well, he was one of the first. I mean,
of gangster rap.
well,
Yeah.
you know him as you know him. How would he get his lyrics? How would it be the situations that he went through as a child, or how did he? Because you kind of
I never was in the studio when they did those recordings. I just know as a person he was a businessman, a true businessman.
really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true business.
So, as of business, did he buy any property?
But
Did he buy?
listen, put it this way. All right, since
Yeah,
we speaking about it, my father he really didn't want to do music. He didn't really. It wasn't
really.
his thing. I mean, it wasn't his thing. He just saw an extra way to get out of what was going on. Hold on, give me a second.
Hang on a second. We've got to take care of his kids. He's got a couple of boys
No,
there.
his father was a businessman. He invested in the music, and they became famous.
Yeah,
And they're history now. They
Sorry
will
about that.
forever be history.
that's okay. No problem. That's real life.
Hmm?
Real life.
No, I'm just saying it was based off of the things he was doing in life at that time on the streets. You know what I mean? And felt
Yes.
let me put this in a different position. You know what I mean? To where it's more
Yeah.
safe and clean. You know what I mean on a music industry level. So
But Jerry Heller was also one of his friends at the time as well.
Jerry Heller.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
rest in peace to Jerry.
And what part do you know what part he played in it? And is he still around?
No, Jerry Heller passed away. His
Okay.
daughter's still around.
Yeah. Okay. And what part did he play in the whole thing with your father? They were good friends, I would imagine.
Yes.
Number one.
They were good friends.
And you say that he bought real estate and he invested his money, and he was really a businessman more than a singer, a rap singer.
Yes, that's what
Yeah.
he was, a business person.
Yeah.
Jerry Heller had the connections in another type of music way.
Yeah.
So that's what Jerry came into the picture to do distribution for their record.
Yeah, because that was all something very new in those days, wasn't it?
Yes.
I mean, this all was very, very, you know.
Society wasn't ready for F the police and Straight Outta Compton. Society wasn't ready for that.
They weren't ready for any of that.
Strong. In 1988 when it came out. So it was very strong for the public to listen to. It had hardcore explicit lyrics. They had explicit lyrics back then with the Ghetto Boys and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But nothing how NWA came out.
It wasn't to that bravery.
Yeah.
of
NWA
carelessness.
came in, knocked on the door, and kicked down at the same time. That's what NWA did at that time.
Yeah.
Like everybody expressed themselves, but they just didn't express themselves like that until that.
Mhm.
You know what I
Then
mean?
I wonder what made him so open and so real. That he was probably very tired with it.
The way how they were being treated by society. You had racism, all kinds
Yeah, all
of
that
stuff
stuff,
still
yeah.
going on. Ronnie King beatings. You had a lot of stuff
Yeah.
going on. So this
That's
was
right.
a perfect way to express to the public is through music.
Added a lot of fuel to that fire.
Yeah.
And the funny part about the whole thing is he didn't need a band. He just needed himself. That's all he needed.
But that's how they expressed it because they was all together.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have a song called "Express Yourself" on the NWA album. They have one called "Express Yourself."
So guys out there, you're going to go buy that. And you know, we're talking about EAZY-E, and let me tell you, this is the icon of the rap music. Absolutely incredible, absolutely amazing. And we have his son with us, who's called EaZy-E3. And also, we wanted to talk about Tupac. You had a story about Tupac you wanted to mention, Rick.
Yes.
There's a little controversial things going on about what exactly happened and what didn't happen, and the whole bit.
Yeah, I'm affiliated with the family. I know the family because his mom used to run with my dad. So there's a lot of topics going on, especially with the Keefe D incident. The man's actually innocent,
Yeah.
and he's innocent because he wanted to use.
You mean the guy in jail?
Yes, in Las Vegas, Clark County Detention Center. He's actually innocent. He just wanted a little bit of fame, spoke too much. Metro Police ran with that, grabbed it as a loophole to close the case. That's all that's about.
So he actually didn't shoot him?
No, he didn't shoot him.
Now, we're saying from Rick Boss here that this guy did not shoot him and he's in jail. That doesn't seem to make sense to my head. Why is he going to have a trial? Or is he having a trial right now as to let everybody know he's innocent?
He's trying to fight to get out on house arrest, but the judge won't allow it. They want to keep him locked down. That's what Las Vegas, Nevada does. They treat people unfair, you know what I'm saying? So that's what they do. And the man's totally innocent because, as you know, I showed you a text from the family that there is a book called The Great Escape where Tupac is alive, written by Mutulu Shakur from Kentucky Federal Prison, as you've seen the text.
Yes.
Coming from the son, Tyrone Shakur.
From Tyrone Shakur. Now, did you know him at all, EAZY-E3?
Did I know who?
Tupac. He's too young. He's too young to know.
I never had the opportunity to meet Tupac at the time.
No,
even though I was around my father, I didn't have that opportunity to meet.
You were only 7 years old.
But his father did meet
Tupac. But there are people that I do remember that I met, but I know I haven't met Tupac like in person. I've heard good things about him. I heard bad things about him. Other than that, I didn't know the man personally. Nice. You know, that's everybody. You know what I mean? I didn't know him personally. Never met him.
Yeah.
But his father, Eazy-E, did meet Tupac at one point. I don't know if it was a convention center or a music award. I don't remember exactly, but they did meet each other.
Well, eventually they all meet each other. Yeah. As we were talking about Dr. Dre. I mean, you know, they were very good friends. Weren't they in business together?
In the beginning, until they fell out.
And then they had an argument.
They fell out. You know, so
like anything, that happens in life. It is like that. You know, when you have things, E3, when you have things about your father, which I'm sure you do because they all, you know who you are and they ask different questions. How do you feel about that? You know, because you've got to give an answer.
It went out a little bit. I couldn't even get the question.
Oh, I was asking, when people talk about your father, good, bad, right, or wrong, how do you feel about that?
It all depends on what they're talking about. You know what I mean? Like, because I know my father. I know my father's a good person, and let alone I know if it's something they may say as far as it being bad, or I know how he can get if you make him upset. So we are humans. Everybody got two different sides. Nobody's perfect. You know, my dad was a good person. I always heard that from a lot of people. They always expressed to me that my father was always the type that do things that he didn't have to do for people. You know what I mean? And a lot of people always told me how much appreciative they were of him. So, you know, me growing up later on in life, I knew how my father was as a kid. You know what I mean? As I got older, which he wasn't here, you know, I always got good stories from people from back in the past about my father. So I never really got too many bad stories outside of, you know, an argument he may have had with somebody. So, but that's anybody.
Absolutely. So what do you now? You said you're just taking care of your kids and that's what you're doing. Have you ever rapped yourself? Done any rapping?
I do. Surely do myself.
You do? So where can we find some stuff from you?
He's all over the internet on YouTube.
Where'd you get on YouTube?
You can find it anywhere you decide to search, you may find me somehow.
So they have to go to YouTube and they've got to go to EAZY-E.
Go to YouTube. It's strange because people call me different things. You know what I mean? I just go by E3 for short. I go by E3 for short because it's easier. You know what I mean? Other than somebody walking around, hey, baby, EAZY-E or EAZY-E3, or that's too much. So that's why I just tell people to call me E3. But if you look those names up, you will find me almost anywhere.
I think, that's what I'd like to do.
You might find some old stuff when I was young. It was just thrown out there. But other than that, you will find it based
That's
off of
what
whatever
people want
name
to
you,
hear. That people want to hear your
whatever you
stuff when you
choose
were
to
young.
search me under, you will find me somehow. Eazy-E3, E3, Baby Easy. Somehow you will find me.
You'll find the family of Eazy.
That's right.
Yep.
I see you have Bone Thugs and Harmony there.
Yep.
You want to ask some questions about Bone
Yeah.
Thugs and Harmony?
What is that? Bone Thugs.
They're from Cleveland. That's the rap group that Eazy invested in. His father invested in that rap.
Your
group.
father. Now, do you know anything about that group? And is it still going? Bone Thugs.
Yeah, they still doing what they're doing now. They still touring. They still working on music here and there, whether it's group work or individually. They still working. Last I saw them all was at it's like the pre-Grammy award ceremony for my father in NWA. So that was the last time I seen them.
I want to ask you a question. I don't know how to put this, but I will. But there was this particular question.
The NIGGAZ for life.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah, what does all that mean?
That's the hardcore album.
That's the hardcore. Wait a second. What is a hardcore album? It's obviously got stuff in there.
I used to play that when I was in high school. That album.
But your mom and dad never heard you play it.
If my dad caught me with that,
you wouldn't be sitting. You probably wouldn't be sitting next to me. Now, did your father record that? E3?
Did he do what?
Did your father record in that album? He's on that album. He's on that album.
He's on that album.
Yes.
So that's just the name of the album, and then there's all the songs in it.
It has all the songs.
And they're all hardcore.
But the best album that I like myself is this one right here, Straight Out of Compton.
Yeah, everybody talks about this.
That's the original one I like.
Straight Out of Compton.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had I had a TV show called Voices of Tomorrow, and I was interviewing these young teenagers. And I was at Compton High School, and these kids turned around and they said, "Oh no, she won't interview us, and we're not good enough." And I turned around to them. I said, "You're coming on my show." And I had these 4 kids from Compton High School come on my show, and they were amazing. They all dressed up, and at that time I was filming out of Beverly Hills High School. And I had them all, they'd never been into a library. So I took them into the Beverly Hills Library and everything. But they were so beautiful. And they said to me, Ninon, they said, "What are we going to talk about?" And I said, "We're going to talk about Compton." Because Compton's always fascinated me, because you've got a lot of talent, tremendous amount of talent coming out of Compton. So E3, what's your idea about why people talk about Compton?
This is just the same reason you said it, talent. We got so much talent coming out of the city of Compton, whether it's music, sports, comedians, just entertainers somehow. They somehow flow out of Compton somehow. Either Compton or surrounding Compton, but mainly that's why people talk about Compton. If we all know the man. We all know the man that's on the map. So
easy. Isn't Sharina Williams from Compton? I think she lived there before. Yeah,
there you go. A lot of them come out of Compton, and yet there's always this name called a Stigma of Compton, and I sort of disagree with that, because when you have so much talent that people have the same talent except they don't have a way to get out. Your father found a way, which he didn't really, as I was told, he was really a businessman, not a rap singer, but he wanted to expose Compton, so he did it in rapping, because he didn't really need anybody except himself, did he?
Well, he's the one that put Compton on the map.
Yeah. Oh, see, there you go.
Everybody speaks about Compton because of his dad.
Right.
See?
But everybody don't know, because it's been over time. You know, they may know who they know now that might be famous or popular in the city of Compton, which may be Kendrick Lamar or whatsoever. You know, that's what they know currently. Yeah. So, but they would still show respect to my father because they know the truth.
They know the truth, and that's why we're doing the show. Yeah, this is why we're doing the show with you, E3, because I want the word out there. Exactly, you know, I don't want your father forgotten. He and as we're talking right now, he started it all.
He did.
I mean, he's the one that put it out there. And I'm just wondering, how did he get the rhythm, and how did he? I mean, you know, you have the rhythm. You're a rapper, right? Would you compare yourself to your father? In what way?
I wouldn't compare myself to my father, though, like others might, based off of our styles. You know what I mean? We sound the same in a way. You really,
Yeah.
once you really listen to me, you will really hear. You're like, whoa, is that him or is that his father? You know, a lot of people think that.
Yeah.
They would never know that it's me until they see it's me. They would never know.
Yeah.
They would think it's naturally my father.
Yeah. And I think because he's such an icon, I certainly personally don't want him forgotten, and I'm quite sure you don't either. And also you, Rick, for bringing this up and bringing it out.
The reason why those albums sold a lot because of his wisdom, street knowledge is why those albums sold.
Well, that's it. He's straight out of Compton, which means he
streets.
knew the streets. He knew the upbringing. I mean, was your grandparents, which is your father's parents, were they poor? Were they rich? What were they? Medium family?
We came up. You know what I mean? We were just a normal family who came up. My grandmother was always the nicest, sweetest person around, whether you knew her or not. She would act as if she knew you, would give you the most love. My grandfather, post office, he was ripping and running, doing that for most of his time. So until he passed away. But other than that, yeah, it was those are the reasons why my father's here. So those are the people we should be giving the most, you know.
You mentioned something. Your grandmother gave love. And, you know, there's two things in this world that we all need. And I don't care where you come from, all over the world. There's two things you need. One is love. Everybody wants to be loved. And everybody loves music.
Yeah.
And that's where your father comes into it, because your father turned something in of what a area and place was criticized for, and he turned it into love.
He turned to a famous place
Yes.
where even out-of-towners from around the world want to go to Compton just to take take a picture with the name.
Yeah,
come from all over the world because of his dad.
You know, so funny. I'm not bragging. I'm not bragging, but I had a white Rolls Royce, and I was driving, and I was going to Compton in it, and somebody said to me, "You can't go to Compton in your Rolls Royce." I said, "Why not?" I said, "They're not going to touch me." And you know, it's just the fear that some people put in, but I think it's turned out to be an icon, actually.
Yes,
absolutely, for the rap, for the beginning. Aren't you proud of that, E3? Are you proud of that?
Always.
Of Compton now? Always. I love that.
He's always going to be proud.
That. I love that. E3, is there anything you would like to talk about and mention about your life and that I haven't brought up or Rick hasn't brought up? Anything you'd like to bring up now?
No matter how it comes, you got to find some type of way to make it good. You don't want to be beat down. So somehow I got to enjoy how it comes.
Yeah. And you kind of enjoy life, don't you?
It happens times, you know. Sometimes it gets rough.
We all have those times.
Yeah.
It's never perfect. It's never perfect.
No, of course not. If it was perfect, we wouldn't be doing anything.
Right.
When you start a rap song, you don't really know the lyrics, or you don't know the words you're going to put into it until you start rapping, correct?
It's all based off of how I'm feeling. Like whatever I feel. If I'm feeling a certain type of way, or put it this way, the easiest time may be when I might be going through something in life, just like we just got to explain. If I'm going through a tough time in life, that may be my only motivation to make me want to do some music, because I'll be able to express it. You know what I mean? It's my story. I'll be able to express my story. And I'm not the only person in the world that may be going through a certain situation, because there's plenty of other people who can relate to what I'm going through. You know, so it just comes based off of what story I'm going through.
You might be something with your boys that you saw, your two boys. You want to rap about them, of how great they are, or how naughty
they've been shouted out in some of my songs here and there. I make sure I shout my boys out all the time here and there.
Yeah, that's nice to include the family and make sure that they're wanted, so that they don't have the same, because your father started all this because of what he saw and what he was going through, what he saw in Compton, and he decided to put it into rapping so people would know what was happening.
That's
right. Isn't that correct?
Correct. It's a legend.
It is. He's
always going to stay a legend.
So he basically did. He did me, my brother, sister. He did the job for us. Our only job is to keep his name alive. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's never gonna go nowhere, but that's because we still here.
But it's
You got to
going to
make
keep it
sure.
alive. It's going to keep it out there and up there because it was such a thing that he didn't know about, but he just put it into words and he just had this thing going on. I call it like a rhythm.
Yeah.
You get yourself into this. I've tried to rap myself, but I'm not too well.
No. You know, rapper.
I don't know.
You might make some good, sell some CDs doing that.
Who knows? I can start a new career. Can I start a new career, Eazy?
Have Eazy as a feature on your album.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I'm saying. Let him promote it and I'll just be in the background somewhere.
How could the public find you on Facebook and your networks, Eazy?
They would have to either just like we said, out of one of 80 of those names that I gave you, either Baby Eazy-E, Eazy-E3, Eazy-E3, E3, or just my name in general, Derek Wright. They'll find me. So somehow, some way.
Eazy-E3. So if they all remember out that Eazy-E3 is an E3, and I think they'll find them. You'll find them anywhere because if I can find it, anyone can find it. And I found your father because I hadn't really read much about him. So I looked it up and I found everything out. And I've got it all in front of me right here. I've got lots of stuff here. I don't know if I'm in Compton. Your father died. When did he die? He died in 91, I think, wasn't it? Was it somewhere like that? Anyway, but there's a lot of stuff here, and the money he earned and all the stuff. There's a lot of stuff that they can read about your father, who was such an icon and such an incredible person. So how can anybody personally get hold of you if they would like to talk to you, Eazy? Did you like to give out? Same place.
Same place. Either Instagram, mainly Facebook, because I'm always around. If somebody hit me, whether it's just to talk or business, I'm somehow accessible. So
you can be found. I love it.
That's
and
right.
How about you, Rick? Rick is also my guest. He's an amazing man, and this is the third interview with you.
It is.
It's you're quite a character. I tell you, he's got so much information and knows. I mean, you know Snoop Dogg and all. You know everybody.
I've been around.
He's been around. I was just. I took the word.
Been around.
He's been around.
You've been around.
I've been around for many years, and people can find me on Rick Boss, the official world public figure, Tupac, the Great Escape from UMC. Find me on Facebook.
There you go. It's amazing. Well, I would like to thank Rick for putting this together and having E3 on, Eazy-E3. You are amazing. I congratulate you. And I thank you so much for coming on, not only for my show, but for the public out there so that they know that there's still action around out there. Oh, one question. Any of the other children, are they rapping or doing anything, or do you know of? That you know
of my
the
father's
other 10 children.
Yeah. It's I got two sisters that do it. It's me, and I got a younger brother who goes by the name of Young Eazy. He that's why I go by E3, because there's so many of us. I don't want to. Little Eazy-E, Baby Eazy-E, Young Eazy-E. It may come off corny to some fans, to where they may think like, oh, y'all just using your father's name. But I've been around, you know what I mean? So that's why I go by E3, just to keep it simple and short.
That's why I'm saying E3. I want everybody to know you as E3, and then you become an individual and a self-person. And that's what we want, because you put a lot of effort into what you do. And, you know, it's just amazing. I think it's incredible. But I want to thank you so much for coming on, and I hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you, Eazy.
I appreciate
a little bit about your family. And I'd like to thank our audience out there. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. E3 is amazing. He's giving us a lot of information about an icon, his father.
Support the family and buy Eazy albums as soon as possible. Support the family.
Well, yeah, definitely support the family. And we will be back with our next show. You all take care, and thank you for tuning in.
Have a good one.